What is a right circular cone? Is it a circular cone which never does anything wrong? It pays its income tax on time and obeys all the traffic rules? Of course not. It is a solid generated when you revolve a right angle triangle on one of its sides. Let us see how that works. Take any right angle triangle. Let L be its hypotenuse and H and R be its two sides. Now fix H and revolve this triangle like this. And the solid shape that you get will look like this. It will have a base which is a circle and it will have a curved surface. And what will this height be? We fixed H and revolved the triangle around it. So this will be our H. Now what used to be your hypotenuse will be this slanting height. The slanting line you see, that will be your L. And this is your R. So now you see it forms a right angle. So the right part, the base looks like a circle. So the circular part, that is why we call it a right circular cone. But not every cone is like that. Look at this example. Look at this cone. The base is not a circle and the axis you see, it does not make a right angle. So from here onwards, when I say a cone, I mean a right circular cone. Now let us find the surface area of this cone. How does the top look? It is curved. So it has a curved surface area and there is a base. So it has a base area. Both of them together will give you the total surface area. Now what is the curved surface? Do we need H for it? No. The surface area is only about what is outside. What happens inside is none of our business. So we don't have to worry about the H part. It is pi r L. That is the surface area, the curved surface area of the cone. Now, what about your base? It is a circle with radius r. So, its area is pi r square. And together added, what do you get? This plus this, pi r is common. Then an L, then plus an r. So, this is your total surface area of the cone. Now we will move on to the volume. If the surface area is what happens outside, volume is how much you can store inside a cone. For example, if you have seen your ice cream cone, right? How much ice cream can you fill inside a cone? Or if you have a funnel, how much oil can you store inside a funnel? That is what volume is all about. How much this cone can hold. That is 1 by 3 pi r square H. Please understand one basic difference between the area and the volume. In area, you multiply two measurable quantities. What is measurable quantities? Anything can be measured. For example, liquid, they are measured in milliliters, liters, and weight is measured in kilogram and gram. Here we deal with distances which are measured in meter, centimeter, etc. So this pi does not have any unit. It is just a number. It is just 3.14. But then the R and the L are measurable quantities. You will see that whenever you have an area, formula for area, you will see two numbers multiplied. That means the unit will always be in square units. That means what? Meter square, centimeter square, kilometer square. But when it comes to volume, you will see that that is measured always in cubic units. What does that mean? Meter cube, centimeter cube, and you will see why does that happen? Because you will be multiplying three measurable quantities. See here, an R, another R, and H. So 3 centimeter, centimeter into centimeter into centimeter. That is one basic difference between the two. Now look at this question. What is given? Only the volume is given as 314. But what else is given? The ratio of the radius and the height is given. So whenever you have the ratio questions, remember if there is something like this, first quantity, first number. R can be written as some 5x. Second quantity, second number. You can write H as 12x. Now substitute all these values in the formula for V. This is what you get, but at this point, please stop. Don't rush with your calculations. See, 25 into 12, what is 12? 12 is 4 into 3. But then 25 into 4 is what? It is 100. 100 into 3 is 300. There. A 300 here, a 3 here. It gets cancelled and you get what? You get 100. Now, what value do you want to take for pi? Do you want to take 22 by 7 or do you want to take 3.14? Look at this number and this number. So you see what is happening here. Don't take 22 by 7. Take this. So 2 decimal points, 2 zeros, which means they get cancelled. And you end up with what? You end up plainly with the 314, which means x is equal to 1. This and this gets cancelled. If x cube is 1, then x is 1. Then what? If x is 1, r was 5x. So r is 5 and h is 12. But that is not we are asked. We are not asked the radius or the height. We have to find the slant height. Remember, the slant height was the hypotenuse and it follows the Pythagoras theorem. So square the radius and the height and this is your answer. This is your slant height. Now look at this question. Whenever you have a cone, we take its area as A, its radius as R and its slant height as L. But here, what are you dealing with? You are dealing with two cones. So they will have different area, different radii, different slant height. So you have to take two sets of values. One is A1, R1, L1. The other is A2, R2, L2. Then what is the information given? Their diameters are equal. That means their radii are equal. That means the R1 here and the R2 here are equal. What is the second thing given? Their slant heights. Their slant heights are in this ratio. Whenever you see this ratio, what do you do? First quantity, first number. You can write this as 5x. Second quantity, second number. You can write this as 4x. Then you have to find what this x is. Then only you will get both the slant height. Now what you have to find is the ratio of the curved surface areas. There are two different surface areas, A1 and A2. Their ratio can be written like this or in this form also. It is the same. I will write it in this form. What is A1? Pi R1 L1. These are the dimensions. A2 pi R2 L2. But then R1 and R2 are same. Pi and pi gets cancelled. R1 and R1 gets cancelled. L1 is 5x. L2 is 4x. So you end up with a 5 by 4 or in other words 5:4. That is the ratio of the two curved surface areas. Now what do you see here? You have a cone here. It has a radius and it has a height. Now we are tripling the height and the radius. Tripling is into 3, doubling is into 2. Now what we are doing? We are increasing the height. So what does that mean? Your volume is going to change. Now you cannot use V here. Use V1 and the new cone let it be V2. Then what about its radius? 3 times this. It is tripled. What about its height? 3 times this height. So what we are saying is that if we increase the radius, if we increase the height, how much is your volume going to increase? That is the question. Now look carefully, ratio of the new cone to the old cone. What should come first? The new one should come first, then the old one. I will write it in the fraction form and substitute the values. Remember, V2 deals with 3 times R, 3 times H, but V1 deals with the original values. Remember one very important thing, when you are squaring more than one quantity, for example, suppose you are squaring 3R, do not write like this. This means 3R square. Remember to put the bracket. That will remind you that you have to square the 3 also. What you get here is 9R square. So there, substituting all the values, what do you get? You get 27 by 1. Remember to change it in the ratio. 27:1. That means if you triple the radius, if you triple your height, increase it to 3 times, then what do you see? Its volume, the new cone that you are getting, its volume increases 27 times. Isn't it surprising? Now look at this question. There is too much of stories going on here. There is a tent. it can hold 11 people, and then that people, for those people, each person needs air to breathe, right? And how much air does each person need? Each person needs 20 cubic meters. The minute you see cube, you should know we are talking about the volume. And even otherwise, you should know how air works, right? What do you do with the air in a balloon? How do you blow a balloon? You fill the balloon with air. That means it has to be the volume, right? But that is the volume of air needed for one person. So for 11 people, it will be into 11, right? So what is the volume? The volume is 1 by 3 pi r square h. So for one person, 20 meter cube. For 11 people, into 11. Look at the next information given. Each person needs 4 square meter. The minute you see square, you should know we are talking about area. But which area? Curved surface area. What is it? They need that much space on ground, which means the base area or the area of the circle, which is what? Pi r square. For one person, 4. So then for 11 people, 11 into 4. Then what do you have to find? You have to find the h. Now there is a simple way and a complicated way. We will first see what the simple way is. Now you have two equations. Let us name them 1 and 2. What if you divide both of them? LHS by LHS, RHS by RHS, then what will you see? All of these are getting cancelled. All that is left is h by 3. And here everything gets cancelled and all you get is a 5. So there your h is 15. This is a simple method. This is our usual method. We start with two equations. Now what do you notice about these two equations? Here there is only one unknown, which is r. Here there are two unknowns, r and h. So you cannot deal with two unknowns in one equation. So you start with the one which has just one unknown quantity, which is your r. Solving for your r, you will get r square is equal to 14. Now do not rush to find its square root, because look at this equation. Here it is in the r square form itself. You don't need an r. Until you are specifically asked what the radius is, don't start doing all of that. Just take this whole of 14 and put it like this. Then solve the equation for h. You will see that h is again 15 meters. Now what does the question say? We are given the volume, we are given the base area, you have to find the height. But did you notice this? In both of this, pi is given. So if we are lucky, that is just going to get cancelled. Now we will write down the formula and see. This is your volume and this is your area. We will name the equations 1 and 2. What if we divide 1 by 2, then what will you get? LHS by LHS, RHS by RHS. Then what do you see? All of this gets cancelled, all of this gets cancelled. Then your h by 3 is actually 4. That means your height is 12 centimeter. With this, we come to the end of this lesson. What did we study? We studied about 3 types of surface areas. The top is a curved surface, so it has a curved surface area. The base is a circle, so it has a circular base area. Together you have the total surface area. Now what about the volume? Volume is how much can you fit into this solid figure. How many ice cream, how much ice cream, how much oil, how much can this actually hold something. That is 1 by 3 pi r square h. These 3 dimensions, you remember we started with a right angle triangle. So together they are related by this equation. So that's all for today. Inshallah, in the next class we will study about spheres. Till then, Assalamu alaikum.